So a boss is someone that has authority. A leader is someone that takes that you follow, right? A leader is someone that's that you're following, right? And so a leader is someone who takes responsibility. Now that's an interesting thing. If a leader is someone who takes responsibility, if you take responsibility, you're a leader. So what does that mean? Look, think about it. You're climbing a mountain, right? And someone says, "Oh, I'm not sure where I'm going. I'm not sure it's for this here or this there, right? Oh, I'm gonna wait until someone goes." Are you gonna follow this person? No way, right? Now, if someone tells you, "I know the way, it's over here," right? And that's a person you should follow. So leader is someone that takes responsibility. Now, that's an interesting thing because it means that if you take responsibility for anything, you become a leader. So that means, you take responsibility for your code. You take responsibility for your projects. You take responsibility for, for doing your work well done, right? All of those things are reasons why, when you take responsibility, take responsibility for your tasks. You take responsibility for, for deploying the application. You take responsibility for getting the application in the hands of the users, right? Anything you do, anything you take responsibility, you become a leader, right? Now, the one issue that we have to think is, okay, so if I take responsibility, I become a leader, but Bruno, I do take responsibility. I do my work. I do the stuff that I need to be done. I take responsibility, right? But how are people gonna see me as a leader? That's a different thing, right? How can people actually see me as a leader? Because the other thing that if you're going up the mountain and there's this guy saying, "Yes, let's go over here," right? But he has never been to the mountain, but he's saying, "I'm gonna go over here." And would you follow someone that has never been to that mountain? He has no idea, right? There's another thing in terms of a leader. A leader has responsibility, but he has trust. People trust the leader, right? So once you take responsibility for something, right, then you become a leader of your career, right? You become a leader of whatever that you're doing, right? You become a leader because you take responsibility. But the other thing that's neat is that people need to trust you, right? And for people to trust you, you have to speak. You have to tell people. You have to talk to people. You have to share. You have to share. Share what? Share what you know, right? That's the simple thing ever. If you share what you know, people. That's an interesting thing, right? If you share what you know, other people know what you know. And because they know what you know, they trust you, right? They trust you. And once they trust you and you take responsibility, you become a leader. All right? So that's what we need. We need, so let me go back. So I want to see your questions, right? I want to see what's going on in your career right now. So Danielle said, right, that I need to become a better leader, right? A development leader, right? The leader of my team. So for you to do that, Danielle, the question is, what is that, what kind of responsibility can you take for your team? So it's not, how do I tell my team what to do? Is how do I help my team to do whatever they need to be doing, right? And so Wiggich asks, I'm having problems staying motivated by my side projects and learning outside the job. I plan it like it will work for 2 hours every day. After a couple of days, I get bored and demotivated, and I feel like I lack discipline. So that's an awesome question, Edith. Wiggich, can I call Camel? Camel is easier for me. All right. So Wiggich, that's an awesome question right there. Motivation. A lot of people think about motivation, and that's have everything to do with responsibility, right? A lot of people think that motivation that is key, right? That motivation is the most important thing. But let me tell you one thing, Wiggett. Motivation is very expensive, right? I understand why you get bored, right? Because motivation is very, very expensive. You know, when you have to do something, and that's why I gave you guys the book, 4 Steps to Take Action, right? So that's, you know, you can go download there. It's on the chat, right? If you miss it, you got here late. If you miss it, you know, you can look back on the chat. But you know, the one thing about motivation we get is that motivation is very expensive, right? You know, if you relied on motivation to do the things every day, Wiggets, you know, to get up in the morning, to dress up, you know, to brush your teeth, to do all those things, you know, if you needed motivation to do all of these, you know what's going to happen? By the middle of the morning, you'd be like, I'm so tired, right? Oh man, I'm so tired, right? But because motivation is very expensive for your brain. So we're not talking about motivation, we get, you know, we say we experience problems in the job because there's external motivation from a boss. Yes, right? So don't rely on motivation, you get. So here's the problem. When we want to do anything, right? When we want to take action, right? You know, the one thing that we do is like we did, right? Oh, I'm going to work for 2 hours every day, right? And you know how much motivation it requires for you to work for 2 hours every day? It's very expensive. So that's not how you do it. It's what you do is you have to create a habit, right? You have to create a habit of doing something every day. Once you create a habit, you know, you don't need motivation to brush your teeth. When you're kids, you do, right? Your parents have, hey, go brush your teeth, right? You know, but you don't need motivation to do this once you grow up because it's like something you do every day. Because you do every day, it becomes a habit. And we are creatures of habits, Wiggett. That means, you know, habits for us, in our brains, habits don't take a lot of energy. It's the other way around, right? When you're used to do something every day, then the day that you stop doing it, you actually miss it, right? So that's an interesting thing about motivation is that our brains, that's how our brains work. Our brains don't want to do things that are different. You know, our brains like, you want to do something different, but you're not doing this. You're not the person that works on your project every day. That's your brain speaking, right? Your brain say, no, hey, you're not the person that kind of works on your project every day. So you should not work on your project. You know why? Because our brains don't like change. Change is expensive, right? It changes things when yeah, you say Albert says no dopamine, no motivation. That's a different thing. Dopamine is actually the hormone of happiness, right? So like, okay, so when you're happy, right? So but that's not the point. Motivation is energy, right? You have to expend energy to have motivation. That's not what we want. We want so our brains are like, you know, you want to do change. And our brain's like, no. You shouldn't change things, right? Because change is expensive. It's expensive on the brain, right? The brain needs to build melanin, right? So expensive on the brain. So what happens is, so that's where it says you should be the best to keep doing things regularly. So I'll get there in a minute, Wiggett. But the thing is, what happens is that if you start doing things every day, and every day you do it, every day you do it, every day you do it. So what's the normal? For your brain, the normal is to do every day. And so when you stop doing, that's when the brain like, oh, you stop it doing. I feel bad, right? So that's what you need to do. So the most important thing for you, Wiggett, is the following. You have to build a habit. And to build a habit, so you need motivation to build a habit. You don't need motivation to get going, but you need motivation to build a habit. So how you do this? You start small. You start very, very, very small, Wiggett. Very small. So I totally get it. You say, I decide I'm going to do 2 hours on a project every day. You know what 2 hours is? 2 hours is a lot of work. It's a lot of work. So then your brain, so you need a lot of motivation to keep doing 2 hours. You know, it's a lot of motivation. So then you need dopamine, like someone said here, right? Like Alper said, you know, you need to do 2 hours, and then you need to be happy in the end of 2 hours. How are you going to be happy in the end of 2 hours? By working on something that's hard, right? You know, because that's a personal project, but it's hard, right? You know, it's not like, ooh, I'm having fun. You know, there's moments you're having fun, but software development is a hard thing, right? So there's going to be moments of frustration. And frustration, you don't have dopamine when you have frustration. So you have to start small. So how small? We get as small as you can, right? So, you know, can you commit yourself, Wiggets, to do 5 minutes every day and not miss a single day? Can you commit to do 15 minutes every day? Well, if 5 minutes too big, do 1 minute. But Bruno, if I do 1 minute every day, I'm not going to get very far. Yes, you will. You get a lot farther than you think. If you commit to small things every day, then you create the habits. You create the habit. Because you know what, Wiggets? You know, if you had 2 hours, one day you're tired. You're like, oh, you know what? 2 hours is too much time. I'm not going to be able to do 2 hours today. I'm too tired. So I'm not going to do anything. But if you commit to 5 minutes and you say, I'm very tired today. Oh, man, I had such a terrible day in the job. I'm going to sit down and do 5 minutes of my projects. 5 minutes. So, and then 5 minutes is okay. You do 5 minutes and you go sleep. You go do something else. You go watch Netflix. But you create the habits, right? You create the habits of doing every day, right? And so don't start with 2 hours. Start with 5 minutes. And then once you have the habit of doing every day 5 minutes and you're okay, you'd never miss a day doing 5 minutes, then you can do, you know, you can expand that. You can do 10 minutes. You can do, you know, 30 minutes, whatever, right? But you know what? It's the most important thing. If you start small and you decide to do 5 minutes, science shows that 80% of the time, you're going to do more than 5 minutes. So you start by saying 5 minutes. You commit to 5 minutes, but 80% of the time, you're going to do more. You're going to do 6 minutes or 10 minutes or 15 minutes. Some days you're going to be so in a row that you're going to do an hour. And that's how you get things moving, because then you don't need motivation anymore. And then you don't feel, because that's terrible what you're feeling. You start doing something and then you can't keep up because 2 hours too much. You can't keep up. And then what you do, you feel bad, right? You feel lazy. You feel you don't deserve. You feel you're terrible. And because you feel like this, what happens? You stop. You know, frustration is the opposite of dopamine, right? You stop, right? You feel like lazy, undisciplined, right? And then you stop doing because that's terrible. No, it's not helping you out. Make sense? So don't start, man, with 2 hours. You start with 5 minutes. If you start with 5 minutes, that's going to make a big difference for your life, right? So Marcus saying, great advice. So thanks, Marcus. So let me see what else questions. How about the purpose you're chasing, right? And how much you believe in it. It can be the source of motivation. So we're not talking about motivation here, Omar. Yes, a lot of things can be source of motivation, right? But motivation is very expensive. You should not rely on motivation, right? Motivation, the motivation you need is to create the habits. That's what you need. You need motivation to do the 5 minutes every day, right? But motivation to do 5 minutes is very small. It's tiny. You don't need a lot of motivation to do 5 minutes, do you? But you're right, Omar. You know, your big life purpose, right? The reasons why you're doing things, that's what's going to get you to do more things, right? You know, your purpose can be, and you know, how much you believe in it, right? It's not how much you believe, but what is that you want to do, right? And let me tell a little bit about purpose here. So purpose, it's an interesting thing, right? There's two things that we do, right? So there's two very, very important things. Two things. One is we get out of the things that makes us unhappy. We want to run away. We run away from things that makes us unhappy, right? and we run towards, we run towards, actually, let me see, I'm gonna put run here, right? We run away from things that makes us unhappy, and we run towards things that makes us happy, right? So every time you're looking for a purpose, look for two things, right? Look for the things that you want to run away from, and look for the things that you want to run towards for. So for example, I want to run, my family needs money for me to have a good apartment, for me to have a good house, for me to have good food on the table, right? So I don't want to be hungry, right? I don't want to eat bad food, right? So I'm going to run away from it. So it's important that you understand what are the things that you want to run away from, and run towards, right? I want a better job. I want to work in a more interesting company. I want to travel, right? I want to take my family to visit some places. All of those things are things that I want to run towards. So every time you say purpose, for example, right? What's the purpose I'm chasing? How much I believe in. We tend to think only the things that we want that are good for us, right? But running away from bad things, that's very, very important too. So every time you search for something, you search for both, okay? So in terms of our purpose, let me tell you one more thing about purpose here, right? When you talk about career, there's three things you have to think about your career, right? Okay, there's lots more questions. Awesome. Yeah. Okay, Cancer says an awesome thing, right? Action first, motivation comes later. Yes. If you make, actually, what we want is not really like this, Cancer, because we need motivation to take action. But we can have motivation to take small actions, right? And then we can do. But let me tell you one thing about career. A lot of people think about career as as something that it's my job, for example. Or my career is my job. And so that's not what a career is. Your career is not your job. There's three things you have to think about when you try to find your career, when you try to understand your career, right? First is, what are the things you are very good at, right? What are the things you're good at? Make a list, right? You can do those circles here in the paper and put things in it, right? What are the things you're very good at, right? That's one point of your career. Another point you have to think about your career is, what are the things that you like to do, right? What are the things that you love to do? Okay? Not everything you're good at, you love to do, right? Not everything you love to do, you're good at. Okay? Then there are the things that someone said ikigai right there. Yes, that's awesome. All right. So you know what I'm talking about here, Alper. But I'm going to tell you something that most people don't. When they think about the ikigai, they don't really think, right? The things you're very good at, the things you love, right? And then there's other things that you have to think about is the things that you make money with, right? Okay? Things that not everything you make money with, you love. Not everything you make money with, you are good at, right? But that's the three things that I want you to think about. Things you're good at, things you love, things you make money, all right? Now, the most important things are the ones in the intersections. The intersections are what's important. Why? Okay, so let's say things you're very good at and you make lots of money off, right? You're good at and you make money, but you don't love, right? What are these? This is a job. That's a job right here. Okay? Now, what about things that you're very good at, that you love to do, but you don't make money of those, right? That's a hobby. Perfect. That's a hobby. All right? Now, something that you love to do, you could potentially make lots of money off, but you're not good at this, right? Let's say, it's you play guitar, right? You play guitar and, you love to do, but you don't make money of this, right? I mean, but you're not good. You could make money because you could be a musician, for example, could make lots of money, but you're not very good at it. So what is this? This is a dream. All right? Okay, so now the important thing is what's here in the middle? This sweet spot right here. Things that you love to do, things that you're good at, and you make lots of money off. This here in the middle, that's what a career is. Right? Not everyone has a career. A lot of people have jobs. Right? Not everyone have a career. Okay? So your career is the intersection between things you love, things you're good at, and things that you make money off. Right? Now, the question is, how do we get here? Right? Totally want a career now. Yes, awesome, Danielle. So now the question is, how do we get to this sweet spot? Right? So you have to turn your hobby or your job or your dream into a career. That's the best way to create a career, right? So how you do this? First of all, let's say you have a job you're very good at, you make money of this, but you don't love. So you can move your job into a career by doing what? By doing less of what you don't like and more of what you like. So let's say, for example, you love to code, but you don't like the meetings, right? So you do less and less meetings and more coding. So maybe you can do more open source software, for example, and you get people to pay you to do open source software, so you have less meetings and more coding, right? So you do more of what you love and less of what you don't love. So then you turn your job into a career. Career now, write software for learning playing guitar. So that's an awesome idea, right? And sell to me, Philip. Okay, so now you have a customer, Philip. That's awesome. Now, if you have a hobby is something that you're very good at, you love to do, but you don't make money off, right? If you're very good at something and you love to do, how about learn how to make money? A lot of people have hobbies, but they don't know how to make money out of their hobbies, right? So if you learn how to make money out of your hobby, you turn your hobby into a career, right? Wiggett said, I'm the second customer. So you have 2 customers already, Philip. So how about that, man? All right. Now, what if you have a dream? You have something you love to do, could potentially make lots of money, but you're not very good at this. So what do? You go learn it, right? You go learn that thing so you can become very good at, and then you make lots of money out of this. All right? Okay, so this is how you build your career, right? You get whatever situation you're in right now, whether it's a hobby or a dream or a job, whatever situation is right now, and you turn that into a career. Make sense? So when you talk about purpose, someone's talked about purpose before, right? When you talk about purpose, there's a 4th circle, right? If you know the Ikigai, there's a 4th circle here, but then it's very confusing. So I'm not going to do the fourth circle. But the whole idea of having a purpose in life is actually turning your career into something larger, into something that can help lots of people, right? So for example, if Philip builds a product, right, that is software for learning to play the guitar, right? If Philip has a product that helps lots of people, right? So let's say Philip decides, okay, so I'm going to do something. I'm going to make every single developer in the planet be a good musician, because music is good for you. Music, it's a good hobby. Music is good. It's a way for you to be more creative, right? So I'm going to help every single developer in the planet to be more creative by helping them learn music. So now Philip has a purpose, right? Because he's using his career to help other people achieve their dreams. Okay, so that's a way for you to have an awesome purpose right there, Philip. All right. Okay, so go think about those things. Spend some time doing this, right? Spend some time understanding where you are right now, right? If you have a job, if you have a dream, if you have a hobby, think a little bit about what your situation and turn whatever it is that you want into your career. Because let me tell you one thing that's very important. Today, because of the internet, right, we can make money out of anything. Seriously, right? Very, very seriously. We can make money out of anything. You know, there's people making money building Legos, right? There's people making money building dominoes falling on the ground. People making money, you know, recording videos on YouTube. I mean, there's all kinds of ways of making money, right? So you can turn anything that you love to do into a money-making idea, and by doing that, you can turn whatever that you want into your career. Make sense? All right. So I know I missed some questions. So if I missed some questions, you want to repeat, that would be awesome, because I know the chat went very fast right there. But what do I think about work-life balance? So let me tell you about work-life balance, Wiggett. You know, I think it would make us very work-centric people. So I mean, you mix a lot of different things right there, Wiggett. So work-life balance. You know, if you are doing something that you love, you're very good at, and you make money, right? If you have a career, right? You know, what's your working time? I mean, your work-life balance. So first of all, let me tell you one important thing. You only have one life, right? You don't have my work life and my pleasure life, or my family life, or my religious life, or my, you know, politician life. I mean, we don't have many lives. We have one life, right? So once you every time people ask me, well, how am I going to do a good balance of work-life balance? You know, just have one life, right? So the most important thing is, what is it you want to do with it? Because it's not about balancing things. It's about deciding what's important for you. What's important for you, what's important for your family, what's important for your spirituality, right? What's important for, you know, for your body. You know, I mean, there's all kinds of important things in your life, and you have to decide, for me right now, what's important. So for example, let's say, you know, you're right out of college, you don't have a family yet, you know, can I spend more time doing, you know, improving myself, right? Because the only priority I have right now is my career. Yeah, you can do that, because, you know, because that's your decision at that moment. But then, you know, you have a family, you have kids, right? I mean, it becomes a priority for you to spend time with them because you want to spend time with them, right? And so then, you know, then the priority shifts. So it's not about creating a balance. It's about you deciding with it what's important for you. And you know, and forget about this, oh, because, you know, it's going to make work-centric people. Well, you know, if you don't think about your priorities, if you don't think what's important for you, you have to have priorities in at least 3 areas, Wiggett. In personal objectives, professional objectives, and financial objectives. You have to have goals, objectives on those 3 areas, right? Because if you forget one of them, then you're not having a life, right? Now, you can have more specific things. You can have family goals. You can have parenting goals. You can have relationship goals. You can have, you know, spirituality goals, right? You know, religious goals. So you can have all of these things, right? So the more of those things that you have objectives on, the better, right? You say, oh, but Bruno, I want to have a balance. Well, what's a balance for you? So for example, I want to spend time with my kid, right? Let's say you have a young kid. And I said, look, I want to spend time with my kid. So you have to decide, what is time with your kid? You want to spend time every single day, like 2 hours with him? That's awesome. So you decide, you make that a priority. You know, oh, Bruno, I want to spend time, you know, with my husband, with my girlfriend, you know, with my love, the love of my life. That's awesome. So you make a priority, right? So what would be for you an awesome year? You know, think about 1 year from now. What would be an awesome year if you spend how much time with your family? You know, if you help your kids go well in school, or if you build a project with your kid, if you play with your kids, you decide what's important for you. And that's how you acquire work-life balance. It's not a balance. It's you decide what's important. So you decide what's important for you. You decide what's important for your relationship. You decide what's important for your family. You decide what's important for your finance. You have to have clear goals on all of those. Otherwise you don't. Otherwise you get lost, right? You get lost. You think that the most important thing is my career when you're leaving your family behind. All right, make sense? All right, so let me see here. So Pinar asks, how about the what if in our heads? What if we cannot be as successful as desired? What if I waste my time? And what if people think otherwise? Oops. Oh man, there's a big butterfly right here. All right. Okay, so how about work-life balance right now, right? Okay, so let me see. All right. Is it going now? So that's an awesome live right there when the butterfly comes watch your talk, right? Okay. Oh, come on. You got to stay there somewhere. All right. Butterfly effect. All right. So, okay. I'm kind of, okay. We agreed that you would do this in the middle of the talk, right? But now it's time to stop. Okay. Right. So everyone loves you, right? Okay. All right. Okay. Cool. You want to join the talk, right? Yes. The butterfly needs some career advice. Yes. All right. Awesome. Okay. So if it's not bothering you, I'm going to try to not bother me. All right. So Pinar, that's an awesome question. You know why? Your brain, Pinar, you have to understand this. Very, very important. Your brain, Pinar, is made to do the what if things, right? Here's how our brain works. Every time you want to change things, your brain is going to tell you, Pinar, that you shouldn't change things. You know what? You know why? Because of a very, very important things in our brains, right? Very, very, very important things. That is fear. All right? So that's a very important thing for you to understand, Pinar. Fear, it's important for your life. All right? Fear keeps you alive. Fear is very, very important for your life. All right? So, that's why you don't walk, if someone tells there's a lion there, right? You're not going to go to see the lion, right? In the middle, because of fear. So you're going to keep yourself alive. Now, the problem is that when fear, it's not clear. It's one thing to say, oh, there's a lion right there. I'm not going to go into the lion's den, right? Because I'm afraid. Another thing is I have fear of being fired. Of being laid off from my company, because that's not a clear fear. Right? It's very diffuse, and your brain doesn't know how to deal with diffuse things. So too much fear, and you get stressed. Stress is like, it's fear that you don't know where it comes from. But fear is an important thing in our lives, right? And it keeps you alive. So our brains, the most important thing is fear of change, right? Our brains don't like change. Change is expensive for the brain. Your brain, without doing anything, your brain already consumes 20% of your energy in your body. So if your brain starts doing a lot of change, right, you would consume more energy, and you'd just be like in the bed the whole day doing nothing, because your brain is spending too much energy. So your brain saves energy all the time. So everything that changes, more energy in the brain. And so the brain says, Pinar, you should not do that. So the brain knocks on your door. The brain says, hey, Pinar, let's have a quick talk here. You want to change things, and I think change is not very good for us. So let's have a conversation. You think that your brain does like this? No, your brain doesn't do that. What is that your brain do? Your brain puts fear on you. Why, Pinar? Because it wants you to not change, because change is dangerous, right? So the brain puts fear on you, okay? And so here's how it works. That's very, 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 very important, Pinar. It works like this. Oh, someone tells you, Bruno, there's a lion on the other side of your board, on the other side of the door. And I'm like, okay, a lion, I'm afraid. There's fear, right? So I'm not going to go there. All right, if you're not going to go there, fear work it, right? It's awesome. So you don't need to, so the brain doesn't need to do anything, right? Because you put fear in you and you said, okay, I'm not going to do it. So it was not important that you made that change. You know, it's not important for you because a little bit of fear and you went away. So it was not important. Make sense? So now, what if you actually go on the door because you don't believe there's a lion there, right? And you just go in the door, right? You're not afraid. I'm just going to go in the door. And there is a lion there. There's actually a lion there. Can your brain freeze and say, there's a lion? No. Your brain has to put yourself in action. Your brain has to make yourself move so you get away from there, right? So that's an interesting thing. The brain puts fear to prevent change. But if you, Pinner, if you overcome the fear, then your brain has to change because now that thing is important for you. So all these what-if scenarios in your head, those are normal. Every time you want to change something, your brain is going to put fear on you. And then it's up to you, Pinner, to say, all right, your brain, you're afraid. I understand that. So let's take it easy. Let me do a little step at a time. I'm not going to change my whole life at once. I'm just going to change it a little step at a time. So then the what if scenario becomes, hey, that's awesome. Let's do this. Right? You know, so the what if scenarios are normal. That's how life works. That's how your brain works. So because of that. So every time there's a what if and you give up, your brain said, yes, it was not important for you. So that's awesome. Right? So that's what you do, right? You know, you stop. The what if scenarios are good because it puts some fear in you so you don't do crazy things. But you got to do the crazy things to change your life, right? And again, it comes back in what is that you want to do. Make sense, Peanut? Awesome. Hey, Sebastian. Awesome to have you here, man. I watched a little bit of your talk in the end. So awesome to have you here. Thank you. Let me see here. Fear means that you're not in your comfort zone, right? It's a really good thing because development follows this. Yes. Awesome. Eisner. So fear in order to survive, courage in order to thrive. So that's one interesting thing. A courageous person is not someone that doesn't have fear. That's an interesting point. Courageous person, not someone that doesn't have fear. A courageous person is someone that is afraid and do it anyway, right? So that's like, you know, Sebastian, for example, he just gave a talk, right? And so when we give a talk, right, we speakers, we are always afraid, like, you know, we come here and the audio doesn't work. The video doesn't work. The internet's bad. You know, oh, I mean, it's people understanding me. Is that be clear enough? Can I actually help people? You know, the butterfly jumps in. Yes, Omer, right? The butterfly jumps in, right? Oh, it's the other Sebastian. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. Yes, hey, yes. Now I realize Sebastian Blank. Yes, sorry about that, Sebastian. All right. Okay. Bad. You see, you make. Oh, you haven't talked in an hour. All right. Okay. So you see, you make stupid mistakes with your friends, right? You know, how about that? Okay. So, you know, so in all of these, like, you know, you get all reds, right? When you make mistakes, right? You know, that's fear. All right. So a courageous person is not one that doesn't have fear. Right? Courageous person is someone that is afraid and do it anyway. All right. Okay. So, so let me see here. You see, Sebastian, you got me all right here now. All right. Wicked says, I experience fear when I face hard problems in job, right? When I have to solve a problem and I do not know the topic or it seems very hard to me. I tend to procrastinate, but when I actually start doing the job, I realize it's actually not that hard and I have been wasting time procrastinating. So here, what procrastination is. Procrastination is fear, right? There's two important fears that you have to recognize. two very, very, very important fears that you have to recognize, right? One is the fear of delivering. The fear of getting things done, right? The fear of delivering something is the fear, it turns into perfectionism, right? You know, the fear of delivering something because you're afraid what people are going to think. You're afraid if what is people that are going to do. You're afraid of things. You're afraid of delivering something. You're afraid if the customer is going to like the software. You're afraid, you know, if someone's going to like your presentation, right? The fear of delivering turns into perfectionism. You know, you want to do better. 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 You think this is a good thing because, oh, I like quality. No. It's not that you like quality. You're afraid of finishing. You're afraid of delivering. And then you never deliver, right? And then you delay. So that's not procrastination because you're doing, right? You're improving things. And then you fall into a weird situation that you think, right, that you that you're doing something, right? Because you're I'm doing better, right? And I'm improving the code, or I'm improving my talk. One day when I'm good enough, I'm going to be a speaker. One day when I'm good enough, I'm going to get a better job. One day when I'm good enough, when I know everything, I'm going to be a senior, right? You know, so that's the fear of delivering. There's a second fear that's very important, is the fear of starting, right? You know, it's the fear of starting that leads to procrastination. All right? So when you're afraid of starting, oh man, it's too big. You know, I want to write a book, but it's too big. A book is too big. I'm never going to, I'm going to do something else. Oh, I need to solve that problem. Who was saying that? I think it was Wiggins, right? Wiggins was saying that, right? So, I have this big of a project. I have this one technology that I need to learn that's going to be very hard. So that's the fear of starting, right? And the fear of starting, it leads to procrastination. So here's how it works. For you to defeat perfectionism, let's get perfection. You set deadlines. That's why we have deadlines in our project, right? You say, I'm going to deliver this by that time, no matter what. I don't care how good or how bad it is. I'm going to deliver by that time. So create deadlines for yourself, right? Okay, I'm going to do a presentation. I'm going to do a presentation next week. So schedule the presentation. Make sure that people are going to be there. So now you have to deliver. I'm gonna finish this code by tomorrow, right? And I'm gonna do it, and I'm gonna deliver whatever I have, because once you deliver one thing, once you beat perfectionism, you can improve it, right? So you have to beat perfectionism. Now, the fear of starting, the procrastination. How do you beat procrastination? You do very small things, right? You start small. You don't solve a big problem. You start just by, okay, I'm not going to solve the whole problem today. What I'm going to do is that I'm just going to think, what are the technologies that I need for the problem? So I'm going to spend 5 minutes thinking about this, right? Or I'm going to make a list of all the steps I need to do. So you start. When you start, you beat procrastination, because procrastination is the fear of starting. Make sense? All right, so let me see what else question we have here. So how long does you have? Well, actually, I finished my talk already. So that's my time is up. So one thing I want to do to all of you before you have to leave, right? I want to give you a book, and I'm going to stay here to answer more questions, right, for a little bit. But if you guys want to go, if you have more questions, you can ask questions here. I'm going to stay here for answer more questions, because there's no other speaker coming to this room. You have to go to another room to see the next speaker. But I want you to go see the next speaker. So let me just give a book as a gift. So I wrote a book called The Best Developer Job, right? The Best Developer Job Ever, right? So that's the second book. You may have got the first book. I'm gonna give you a second book, right? So, all right, okay. All right, so that's my second book. So that's a book you can buy on Amazon if you want the Kindle version, but you can just kind of get for free here with me. The skills.code for life, but best job, right? So if you want to stay here, I can answer a little more questions. But before you go, make sure that you get a copy of your book. And can someone tell me that the link worked? Because I'm just typing here. I forgot to do copy and paste. All right, yeah, everyone click at the same time, so that's okay. So the link is working, but everyone click on the same time. All right, yeah. So just give a couple of seconds and try again. Yeah. All right. There's something wrong on this database. Yeah. Okay, it works. All right. Yes. All right. Cool. Okay. So yeah, I don't know exactly what it is, but I need to figure that out. All right. Okay. So now I'm still gonna be here answering some questions. Just kind of talk a little bit with everyone at once. So thanks, Bello. Thanks, Ahmet. Thanks, Wiggett. I know there are other talks right now, so go there, see the other talks. You go back to sessions, and then you have access. Actually, sessions right here. You go back to sessions, and then take a look at the next session that's going to start in a minute. But for now, what I want to do is thanks Tunka, thanks Edda, thanks Bulens, thanks Alper. Oh, thanks for the amazing speak. Awesome. Thanks Danielle. Thanks Biden. Thanks Wiggett. Thanks everyone. Awesome. Thanks Wiggett. But I'm still here, right? So you have more questions. Thanks for the great session. Thanks, Irving. No problem, right? So let me go back here. If I see, thanks for a great one. Awesome. Thanks, Alper. Thanks, Gokop. Such hard names, right? Armads. Marcos. Thanks, Marcos. Okay. So I think I answered all the questions, but if I didn't answer your question, you can go ahead and ask a new question, and I'll be here for a little bit. So Sahin said, I think the final point that you have achieved it in your goal is not the important part of it. The important part is what the effects of it on your now moment. Yes, the only moment that you have in your life is now, right? So you can only do things today. You can't do things yesterday. You can't do things tomorrow. You can only do things right now, right? So that's an awesome point right there. All right. So Zufar, Faith, Marcos. All right. So if you have more questions, come ask here. I'll be here for a few minutes before actually I just kind of want to go back here and answer the question that I missed it. So fear means you're not in your comfort zone. Really good thing because development follows it. So yes, that's a true thing. There's one important thing about not being in a comfort zone, right? So the only scientifically proven way for you to be a specialist in anything, right? So the only scientifically proven way for you to be a specialist in anything is called deliberate practice. Deliberate practice. So deliberate practice is practice that you do deliberately with the purpose of growing, right? So deliberate practice happens outside. Here's your comfort zone. Deliberate practice happens a little bit outside the comfort zone. Not here. No. Totally outside of the comfort zone? No. Because something is totally outside of comfort zone, it gets you become very, very afraid, right? And then you don't do it. So deliberate practice happens at the edge of your comfort zone, in the limits where you need to be a little bit better to be able to do that, right? And so you work on here in comfort zone, and then you expand your comfort zone, and then you work a little bit more on the edge, and then you expand your comfort zone, and then you work a little bit more on the edge and expand your comfort zone, right? So deliberate practice does not happen outside of your comfort zone. It happens on the edge of your comfort zone, right? So that's important. That's the important thing about comfort zones. Okay, so you can always do this. You can always go Yes, remember press the leave button before leaving. Yes, no problem. Yeah, I'll do this. Don't, I'm not gonna forget. Sorry. Thanks. All right. Okay. So one more question. So I wanna just leave the question here for the recording at least. All right. So okay. I think now I answer everything. Oh, Khan asks, how can I achieve productivity? I mean, 24 hours is just not good enough, right? I need a day to be 30 hours, right? No, you don't. Okay. There's a lot of people that have done a lot of awesome things in their lives by on those 24 hours, right? Actually, in a few hours. There's a lot of people that have less hours than you do. And, no one has 24 hours. I mean, there's some people that need to sleep more, right? So they have less hours, right? There's some people that, that they need to work on things that they don't like, right? So they have less hours, right? So there's a lot of people that can achieve a lot of things in less hours than 30 hours a day, 24 hours a day. So the most important thing for you, Khan, productivity. So productivity is about priorities, right? The problem that you have, Khan, is that your priorities are probably crazy right now. You have too many priorities. You have too many things you want to do. There's too many things. So you have to prioritize what's the most important things for you, Ken, because a lot of people just want to be to have more business, right? They want to look busy. They want to be looking like they're doing lots of things, but that doesn't help, right? Productivity is not to do lots of things. Productivity is to actually do the right things. To have more time to do the wrong things. That's the wrong way of being productive, Ken. So actually, the less time you have, the more productive you're going to be, because then you're just going to do the important things, the things that matter, the things what we call the big rocks, right? So the most important thing for you, Ken, is not to do more or to do faster of the wrong things. The most important thing for you, Ken, is to do more and of the right things, and that is priorities. So prioritization is more important than productivity. All right? Make sense? All right. So Ahmed says, I keep working on my personal project. After solving problems, I spend days solving it. What happens? I quit working on my personal projects. After solving problems, I spend days. Oh, so why do we quit things? Right? A lot of why we quit things is because of lack of priorities. You don't know why you have to do a personal project, Ahmed. Once you understand why you're doing this personal project, once you understand what are the things that are important for you, once you understand how important that project is for you, then you want to quit. You want to continue to do because it's a priority. Now, the truth is, most of the time, we don't know why we're doing things. We have no reason that we're doing this, Ahmed. So it's like, we think that, I just want to do a side project. For what? Why do you want to do a side project? So tell me, Ahmed, why do you want to do a side project? What's the reason for your side project? Let me tell you this, Ahmed. Let's say your side project is, is something very, very important for you, right? Let's say you have someone in your family sick, for example, and you want to do an application that solves that person's problems. So that is important, right? And because it's important, then you do it. Now, if you're just doing a project, I just want to do a project to learn a new technology, learn new things, it's not important. It's not a priority. I'm just going to do a project to learn new things. That's not strong enough for you to keep doing. Why you keep going to your job every day? Sometimes you don't like. Sometimes it's hard. Sometimes it's difficult things to do. Why do you keep going? Because there's a salary right there, right? There's a motivation right there in terms of salary, and it's not only the salary. It's like if I don't go to work, then I don't get food on the table for my family, right? So then I don't eat, or then I can't have an apartment. I don't have a car, you know. So the meaning is, it becomes a priority because of the money that you're receiving, right? Now, when you do a side project, there's no money to receive. And so then you're like, oh, so it's not a priority for me. You know, I should be doing other things that are more priority, because just learning is not a priority, because learning is too weak. You know, it's not important. You guys know that learning is not the most important thing, right? You know, because when you know that learning is not the most important. Why? You know, I'm sure you bought books that you never read. I'm sure that you you bought courses online that you never participate, right? I'm sure some of you download my book here for free, but you're never going to read that book, right? You know, so learning is not the important. The important thing for us is creating the skills, right? It's creating the skills, but not even the skills are important, right? Because we have, you know, we create skills, we learn to create skills to get something. That's something. Why you do this? That something is what's important. So Ahmed, do you wanna, you know, the reason why you keep working on personal projects, right, is that really it's not important for you, right? You know, you solve a problem. It was interesting when you're trying to solve the problem, right? Because there was a challenge right there. Your brain's like, I need to solve this. I need to solve this. I need to solve this. Once it solve it, then the whole thing is not important for you anymore. So then you just quit. So for you, if you want to continue to do your project, decide why that project is important. Oh, I want to do this project because I want to get a better job. So that's a good reason. I want to do this project because, you know, I want to help some people. That's a good reason. You know, I want to do this project because it's fun to play with my kids, and this project is going to help me play with my kids. That, you know, create a reason for it to do. Once you have a reason, you have a priority, and once you have a priority, then that's when you keep doing things. Make sense, Ahmed? Ahmed. That's how I say it. All right. Okay. All right. So I think I answered all the questions now. Okay. So if there's anyone has any more questions like Ahmed had, just go ahead and tell me here. I'll be here for one more minute. If there's no more questions, we can end now. But if you still have a question, like last minute, last chance to ask the question, right? I'm going to answer the last question and I'm going to quit. So I'm just going to take a long sip of my water and I'm going to see if there's a question. There's no more question, we can go. You see, there's about 30 people here at the talk yet, right? I'm sure you have one question. All right. Okay. So I don't see any more questions. So I think I'm gonna call it a day. For me, it's actually, as you can see right there, the day is just starting, right? So right now it's 6:20 in the morning. So my day is just starting, right? So so thanks everyone for being here. You know, thanks all these groups. Oh, thanks, Ken. Awesome. So thanks everyone for being here. Thanks for you know, putting the time in your career. The more you put time in your career, the more you take responsibility, the more of a leader you are, right? Don't forget to download the book in the last minute before you leave. And basically, when you download the book, there's two things going to happen, right? One, you're going to get the book. That's awesome, right? It's an awesome book. It's going to help you a lot. The second thing that's going to happen is that you're going to get an email from me. So once you get an email from me, you can send me an email asking questions if you didn't have time to ask here. All right. And so, so let me thank you, everyone from the Istanbul Java User Group for inviting me here. It's an awesome event. Great that you guys doing this. Anything I can help any of you, you have my email. Just shoot me an email with your questions and I'll help you get your career growing. All right. So thanks a lot. I don't see any more questions, so I'm going to call it a day. Thank you.